All right, everybody. Welcome to the rinse for today. It's April 19th, Sunday at 7:30. That was Fish at the Sphere, and that is what is happening this weekend. I wish I would have gone, um, but I feel like every Fish fan wants to go to every show, so that's not really anything new. We are going to be talking about summer tour, summer concerts. Concerts are basically just the best thing on earth, so usually we do talk about politics and stuff, and I'm just wanting to talk about something happy. So let's talk about going to some shows. I have as a guest today Chris LaFave from Billy Pilgrim and the Earthlings. He's the bass player there. And then we'll also be playing some clips from a interview I did with Jon Merin. He's a taper. He used to tape shows for Bo and Humphreys McGee and other bands that I love. And he used to do that and just put them all online for free. And we would download them and listen to them and all be very happy. So I got to talk to him for a little while and fanboy over that. So, but without other hesitation, let's bring on Chris LaFave. Let's see. Let's get. Here we go. All right. There we go, Chris. All right.
Hi.
So, hey, Chris, how's it going?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. I started doing this a little while ago, just because most talk show thingies are always, politics, everyone yelling at each other and stuff. And I just want to try to focus on some happier things, I guess. At least that's what I'm saying for today. So,
Yeah.
So tell me about Billy Pilgrim and the Earthlings, if you would.
Well, I guess you have to go all the way back to 2009. I was living in Chicago and playing bass in a bluegrass band called Breaking Up a Dogfight. We got the band name. We got the band name from the Tom Petty song "Time to Move On." So the band kind of split. My father had cancer. We sort of got summoned home to Indianapolis. So I went to grad school, studied library science. It was kind of looking into the possibility of staying in Indy. And the years went by and I hadn't been in a band in a long time. I probably went quite a few years without being in a band. So Chris Geik, our guitar player, confirmed that it was 2013 when I went on Craigslist and kind of gave a shout out looking for anybody to play with. And he responded, and I met him at a joint. It's I'm blanking on the name of the pizza. Three Wise Men. Three Wise Men was the name of the brewery and pizza joint that we met up at. And he literally walked in with this other guy, and he said, I live in Baltimore, but I'm in the process of moving to Indy. This other guy is a drummer, and he lives in South Bend. We might be able to do something. And I walked out of that restaurant thinking this is the most insane thing I've ever heard in my life. I'm never going to see these people ever again as long as I live. So it was really funny that about a year later, I was at a Rat Dog show, Bob Weir's side project at the Murat. And I just ran into Chris. And he said, "Are you Chris LaFave?" And I'm like, "Yeah, are you Chris Geik?" And so the really funny thing with me having not touched my bass with the exception of college reunions in about 6 or 7 years was the couple times we got together as guitar player and bassist were really rough. I mean, they were not good. They were nothing to write home about. I was like, okay, getting together has almost been worse than ghosting each other. But then, we met a guy named Dan Porter, who I kind of knew through Ball State. Played a couple rehearsals as a trio, and it was fun and enjoyable. But we just didn't have time. And then Dan Porter moved on to other things. And And one night at the Chatterbox Jazz Club in Indy, which is the reason I mentioned it by name, is that it's hallowed ground. It's a sacred space
Mm-hmm.
for jazz music lovers everywhere. I just happened to be there one night, and this guy was sitting at a table behind the bar, and I turned around, and I saw that his T-shirt said "Never fear, the drummer is here." So I walked up to him. I said, "Hey, do you play the drums?" And he's like, "Yep, yep. That's why I got a shirt on. It
Thank God
says
for that.
never." Yeah, thank God. He really did a great job of advertising that he was a drummer. So otherwise, I never.
No, seriously, like that's like wearing a name tag, basically. But
It really is. It was like setting up a distress signal of a flare. So he said, my name's Derek Bailey, and the minute we started playing together as a trio, I thought, you know, everything was just clicking because
Mhm.
I grew up on those. I grew up on those trios like the Jimi Hendrix Experience and Cream.
Yeah, Ginger
Those.
Baker on drums, man. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
they make
yeah.
so much noise for so few people sometimes.
Yeah, and for so long too, like if you find a live Cream or a live Jimi Hendrix show, they understand that you got to take songs for a walk and just see where they go, even if where they go turns out to either not be interesting or terrifying. But
I
it
love
was
that
a
those are
really
the two
neat.
options, by the way.
Well, I mean, you
Or
find
terrifying.
magic along the way, but it's still a journey, and the journey might be pretty wild. So we met him. And then I met Vinny Corsaro, the keyboard player, through the Vonnegut Museum. Took him a minute to have the free time to play, but I think the four of us sort of cemented our band as a quartet sometime in late 2023.
Hmm.
And man, we've been hitting it pretty hard ever since. We got one album that came out in early 2025, and we got another album in the can that we're going to release any day now.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm happy that I got a chance to finally come out and see you guys. Uh, uh, over at the Mousetrap, what, like last weekend, I think maybe. That was your pajama show because you were opening for the Pajamas, right?
Yeah, yeah, I think it was about 2 weeks ago. I musically was really, really pleased with how that show went down.
Yeah, and you guys did all originals too, right? Like that was, I mean, like that's
Yeah,
very impressive. I think just for local bands to just play their own material and kind of rely on the word of mouth and rely on people just picking it up and liking it.
yeah. The journey to playing your own stuff is it's a journey. I even remember back in the Muncie days. Sometimes you gotta start with covers to learn each other. We were very grateful that the band Stomping Ground that you knew me from back in
Yeah,
the day.
yeah.
We had a pretty out there version of Whipping Post by the Allman Brothers, and that version of the Allman Brothers gave us some flexibility to have, to make sure that if we did put originals out there, that they were originals we were happy with for the most part.
Well, and that's something too, like with covering bands like the Allman Brothers. Um, I mean, it really is like covering open-ended books. Sometimes, like when you cover the Dead or really some of the bands that have the lengthy jams. I mean, you can turn it into your own thing versus what direction they went. You know, um,
Yeah.
I kind of want to talk about. Let's see this picture. Um, Now this is you guys. This is you guys playing at the mouse. Is it at the Mousetrap or?
No, no, this is us playing at a legendary Indianapolis venue called Radio. Yeah, we played there as part of a fundraiser for Second Helpings Food Bank. Um,
And so these are
yeah, it
not
was
shrimp, right? That are
no,
on
they're
stage with you.
lobster.
Lobster.
Yeah,
See,
I
okay.
was I was so confused when you said we're going to talk about the shrimp. I was like, what? What is he referring to? I was thinking
And you're
maybe
like,
he's talking about the fried shrimp we used to eat at B-Dubs in Muncie.
I'm a scampi man. That's like I love some shrimp scampi. Like the never ending shrimp at the Red Lobster. That was their downfall. Um, no, but what? So, I mean, you were joined on stage by lobster dancers.
Yeah, we set that in motion. Basically, I think Tonic Ball, which is the name of the fundraiser for Second Helpings Food Bank, I think has been around for a very long time. Don't quote me on how long, but basically, Second Helpings puts together a small list of bands that you can cover, and then local bands kind of sign in and you get kind of assigned whatever you can get. And the results are always really, really interesting because they try to cover, the map with the three or four bands that they choose. So last year, this picture's from November of 2025. We covered the B-52s, hence the lobster. We covered the song. Yeah, we covered the song Rock Lobster. Yeah. We also did the song. I'm blanking on the name of the other song because so the four of us were not phenomenally familiar with the B-52s. And
What?
at first it was,
You guys don't cover
no.
that in rehearsal or in band practice? You guys aren't like Love Shack now. 1, 2, 3.
Dude, it was really really interesting. We no, I had no background. My wife who loves pop music was horrified. She was
What,
like,
that
"Are
you
you
didn't know
telling
it?
me?" Oh yeah, she was saying, "Are you telling me with a straight face that you never heard the song Rock Lobster in your life?" And I'm like, I am coming to this with completely fresh ears, no idea what's going on. But
Well, and I only heard it from Family Guy, to be honest. Like that was the first time that I had heard it was Peter Griffin doing a cover on an acoustic guitar. And then I looked up the original, but yeah, that was it's weird how much music people don't know all the time,
yeah,
But
I actually it made me less snooty to take this on because one thing we learned, um, man, it's really bothering me that the first song that we played that night, I don't remember the name of. I think it was Volcano, but I don't think that's the name of the song. Um, but yeah, it was neat because we found out that the B-52s do all kinds of strange tunings, and that you
oh,
have to
okay.
change, tunings in the middle of the show. And because at Tonic Ball they got a million bands going up there to cover these bands, um, so you find yourself in an interesting scenario where you're having to. Oh, it's called Lava. Yeah, the name of the song was Lava. So Lava was a detuned song, and then we had to go back into a normal tuning to play the Flintstones theme song with the B-52s also covered, and then into Rock Lobster. So anyway, long story
That's a
short, if you
wonderful
ever,
segue.
oh,
I mean,
amazing.
like there's a lot of moments that could happen in between those two songs.
Yeah, we had an absolute blast. The Tonic Ball is super well attended. So it's a massive crowd. Everybody's having a ball, and so you just lean into it. Honestly, the worst part of Tonic Ball is coming off the stage and having all this pent up aggression, like you've just played 8 innings of the World Series in Game 7, and you're not allowed to go out for the ninth inning because it's someone else's turn. Like it's that feeling was weird, but the rest of the festival is incredible. It's
No, I'll
really
have to check that.
rewarding.
And it's an annual event?
Yeah, it's an annual event. I think it happens in November every year.
Sweet. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
let's
we still have
let's
the
talk.
lobster costumes.
I was gonna say, wait, you guys got to keep those? Nice. Um, Okay, let's talk about fish at the sphere too, because I showed that at the beginning.
Oh yeah.
And I'll play it again just to put it up here. But um, I have a cat who is probably going to be coming in and out of this video too, just a giant black cat. That when I saw this, I was laughing my ass off because I'm like, if I went to this show and saw like a 30-foot tall Barley, um, yeah, that'd creep me. Or I mean, like that'd be like what? Um, what do you think about the Sphere shows so far? Both fish and dead, I guess, and eagles. You know.
I haven't gotten to spend a ton of time with Dead and Company at the Sphere. I did listen to when the basketball player Bill Walton passed away. Dead and Company played a super obscure Bob Dylan song in tribute to him at the Sphere, which I did watch and enjoy that. Um, I think for me, when Bill Kreutzmann stopped playing with the Dead, that was challenging for me because he was this incredible drummer who
Yeah.
was capable of doing some pretty out there stuff. And so I sort of, I mean, I still went to one last Dead and Company show because I had a gut feeling that it was kind of winding down. Um, Now with Bobby having passed away, I'm really glad I went to that last Deer Creek show. It seems like Fish is really leaning into the experience there. I've only gotten the chance to listen to a couple. Like I heard the Split Open and Melt,
Mm-hmm.
which is incredible Fish for me at this juncture. I can't believe that at my old age, sometime in 2019, I went to Blossom. It was a
Is
good
that the one
show.
in Cincinnati area?
No, it's near Cleveland.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Um, so we stuck around. The whole show was good. There was a long Birds of a Feather, but the highlight of the whole show for me was the encore, which was this totally demented Split Open and Melt, which we were really wondering if they were ever going to make it back to the beginning of the song.
To the
Like I was like, it's so out of control. It's so lost its mind. And then in 2023, we I made it up to the United Center in Chicago in the fall and they threw down another one of those Split Open and Melts where the entire song, including the jam, just deconstructed completely in real time. And then at the end of the 2024 Deer Creek run, they did it again in that four-song second set.
Yeah. Oh, they closed out the
Uh,
second set with that.
they closed out the second set with it, and that was one of those Split Open and Melts where, like, even if you weren't on drugs, you were gonna taste the color blue. Um, by that point, like somebody would be putting a popsicle stick in your mouth, type of thing. Like it went all over the place, and it was super exciting to listen to.
Yeah.
I love music like that.
And that's I mean, so did you see the videos or like the visuals from the Split Open and Melt in
Yeah,
at the Sphere where it's like the
yeah.
kid blows up the bubble and it pops and it's like his face and then I mean it does look like such a trippy little dream at the end with the sun. Um I guess I don't know what the Sphere is like because I haven't been there, but I know what the lights at Fish are like during concerts. And I mean, I don't know how those can get any better than what they are. Like I appreciate what the Sphere does, but I like the fact that the lights and the music go hand in hand sometimes. And I don't know how they achieve that at the Sphere. I know that they're working on it and they're going to keep trying to tie those together, I bet. But for me right now, unless it has to be too structured for what Fish is sometimes, I think.
Yeah, I might have thought that initially, but at the end of the day, and this is my deadhead side talking, where like I'm sure the Dead had a wonderful light show depending on when you saw them. But I think they were also kind of like, this is about exploration, and by musical exploration, and by musical exploration standards. Um, I heard the recording of Fish's Light from 2 nights ago.
Hmm.
There's not a ton of Fish fans that travel all over the country just desperate to hear the song Light.
There are not.
Um, yeah, but the jam that went into was so patient, so interesting, so willing to take chances, and so willing to kind of hang out in a scenario where there's multiple musicians playing different things. I thought that was kind of cool.
Well, and that's
And so I,
Chris. I love talking music with you though, because like you hit, it's the interplay between the four, or however many members there are. Um, and I love when a song can kind of come out of left field and be the one that that's what I used to go into Fish shows thinking, oh, I want to hear a Bowie, or I want to hear, you know, a Yem or something like that, or Chalk Dust Tort. And I would try to set expectations, and then they wouldn't get met. And then I'd be like, oh, but they didn't play this. And I think after I saw The Last Jedi in theaters, I was like, I gotta stop having expectations about things. It just ruins the actual, moment that you're
experience.
experiencing it. And so I started going to the shows a lot more, just like, I don't really even care what they play. Like, I trust the musicians to do what they do. And I mean, I've listened to them countless hours, so I know that they have that in them. And I love getting surprised every time by seeing a new concert. Um, yeah, good shows, man.
I was thinking about that. I was like, one message board that I was on a lot of years ago was one thing people frequently said was a night out seeing live music is inherently better than a night not out seeing live music. And I thought that was such an accurate statement. Like even some nights when I've seen a terrible band at a terrible venue, I've always been kind of grateful that we have the arts and humanities, because making something out of nothing is kind of a gorgeous thing,
It's magic.
and
It's like,
yeah,
I think
yeah,
didn't Tom Petty said that, like he was talking about how like music is literal magic sometimes. Like you don't know how it comes about, and then all of a sudden you're there. And even the players, I mean, like when you're playing sometimes, like you get into jams or grooves that you're like, how the hell are we doing this? Um, but it's just little, it's each person doing like a little bit, and it's just like a community in music.
yeah, quite literally. I always told people, for me, the moment is when you're at the show and the band walks out on stage and you hear everybody slowly go crazy as they realize that the concert's about to begin. That's such an exciting moment when you realize everybody's kind of in that moment with you.
Yeah. Oh, it's perfect. Speaking of which, let's do this. What? All right, yeah. So, what was your first concert, like ever?
uh, I'm not sure how to count that because my parents took us to like little shows for kid bands. I think there was a band called Kiddio in Toronto growing up, and so I think my parents took me to see them. Um, there was a band called But I'm Just a Kid that I think my kids. These are the most Canadian sounding kids band names you ever
Was
heard.
it all about like just being polite and
I think it might have been.
being polite
It
and
might have.
poutine? It's like
Yeah.
just
Well, oh God, I hope it was about poutine. Um,
I feel like more
I,
songs need to be about poutine so more people are aware of what it actually is.
there
And
should
it's
be there should be a poutine album.
Yeah. Oh, most
Yeah,
definitely.
where everybody in the band like plays around like an improvised jam around a plate of poutine.
I'm just
I
saying your guys'
I
next album needs to be like the poutine rock opera. Um, just make
well
up like
we
the next Tommy just needs to be and just call it poutine.
we'd all have to gargle with gravy in our
That's
throats. That's terrifying. Have to give the Heimlich maneuver. Um, so that'd be cool. As far as like bands that would appeal more to adults, I know my dad took me to see Elton John and Billy Joel at the RCA Dome. I think
really.
it was in 19, I think yeah, it was an amazing concert. I can't believe I got so lucky. Just a mind-boggling show. I
Wait,
couldn't
how
even
old
tell you which one.
how old were you?
12. I was like,
Oh,
it
that
had to
is
be
awesome.
yeah, 1995, 1996. They weren't aged at all. It was a huge party. My dad and I had a great time. I couldn't even tell you which one of them were more badass. Um, I
No,
probably
that's
listened
like
to
comparing two awesome apples. Uh,
yeah,
there
yeah,
it's just
kind of like that. Whenever you hear like scenes from an Italian restaurant or Only the Good Die Young, I mean, Billy Joel just wrote such incredible songs. He's a great player. And then Elton John did too. So it was one of those like 3.5 hour long concerts that was just like really amazing. And I still grateful to my dad to this day for that. I'm pretty sure. I know he took me to see John Denver too, which is the polar opposite of those two artists in every
I
way.
can see the energy being different in the building. Um,
Very different. Yeah. Yeah. That one was at Deer Creek.
okay.
Um, no idea what year it was.
What was
No
your
idea.
um my first concert was the B96 was a music station. It's in Chicago, B96.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was the pop music station though. And I was like 16 and all my friends wanted to go to the B96 summer bash where it was like Ricky Martin, Destiny's Child, um I want to say 98 Degrees and Britney Spears maybe. It was the
Oh, yeah.
saddest for well, it was a it was a hilarious event because it was like a day-long music festival with all these people. And so they played for like 45 minutes and then there was a break and um but it was my first like, concert, but it wasn't, it was a sad first concert. Um but then I started going to like, see Tom Petty and uh Dave Matthews Band at Alpine Valley. Uh the the first show that I really kind of like got was String Cheese Incident though in 2002 at Deer Creek. And
Ah.
Ben Harper opened for them that
Oh, I
show
was
and
there. I
yeah,
was I
oh,
was at that show.
and they did a Little Hands in the second set. And I didn't know a violin, like I listened to Dave Matthews Band, but like holy crap. Um Michael Kang on Little Hands just sawing away on a violin. That was all I needed. And then it was just then I fell in love with Mo, then I fell in love with Fish. Fish actually took the longest time to like ease into, I think, for me as a band. I think Mo was always like the simplest, straightforward, we're gonna rock your face off and then scale it back like Pink Floyd for a little while, then go back. Um, they're just a perfect band to me back in the day. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
what about you for favorite concert? So,
I mean, I don't know how to say this without tooting my own horn because I've seen you don't realize this until later in your life that if you've seen hundreds, if not thousands of concerts, you're fortunate because you're going to meet someone throughout your life who's seen 5 concerts in their lifetime or 10 or something. So it's not fair to ask someone who's seen 300 concerts the same question.
no,
That
no, and
being
I
said,
yeah, it's more difficult. I think like the more you see too, like because you do see like blissful moments and perfect musical moments that you don't want to like not praise, but yeah, we are fortunate. We're very blessed.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of how I choose to look at it. I mean, and the weirdest part is ever since getting married, getting to see concerts with my wife has been such a unique experience that is not comparable to like seeing concerts with close friends, even though that's still a deeply intimate and incredible experience. You know what I mean? Like there's no fair
Oh, I totally
or
get
or or organized way. Like I take this for example, Sarah, when she was pregnant with Wesley, was pretty ill a fair amount of that summer, but we toughed it out to go see David Byrne at White River Lawn.
which
Now
I
I
love that
was one of
venue and I mean David Byrne. I mean, yeah.
yeah, that concert was psychotically good. Um, and it was really funny because I was thinking about. Do you remember the House 1013 Neely in Muncie,
Yeah.
where yeah, where Everthus the Deadbeats hung out? Local indie band Everthus the Deadbeats. Most of the guys lived in that house, so they would have house parties 5 to 7 nights a week. The only bands that you ever heard played on the stereo, though, was Talking Heads or Steely Dan. That was it all night long for multiple years. So I just thought it was kind of funny that by the time I left college, there was a period of time where if I heard, I just couldn't listen to Talking Heads or Steely Dan again for a while after that. So going to see David Byrne and watching him just light White River Lawn on fire, like just burn it down, was really cool.
No, and
But
was
but
this
see your
before
actual
they was this before the um they did the renovations and stuff?
yeah
Oh,
before
okay.
that for sure.
Because
It
I
was
love
before the pandemic.
oh, okay. Yeah, that threw a wrench in a lot of things. Um
Yeah. So, but my actual answer to your question is probably tell you what. I'll give you my fairest answer. Um, Within a 3 month period of time in 2003, I saw Medeski Martin Wood at the Egyptian Theater. I saw Neil Young and Crazy Horse at Bonnaroo, and I saw Fish at Deer Creek.
that
I
is
want to
wait, is this was this the show? The
yeah, that up top, that's the show.
yeah,
Yeah.
the Medeski Martin Wood because yeah, we were talking before we got on and yeah, I was at that one and that was one of the craziest shows I've seen. Um it was like they were all so just well developed players and like they were playing their own heads almost it felt like but it would just group so well.
I don't know if I can say anything that's smart about it because when Brian Whiteley, the drummer from Stomping Ground, and me drove down to Indy to see that show from Muncie, we were walking up to the venue and we see Chris Wood and Billy Martin making food on like one of those tiny grills that's like barely hanging off the ground.
Yeah.
They were making dinner, and they had this dude with a lot of hair up top and a big bushy beard with them. And we were like, "Oh, so nice to meet you. We're sad that Medeski couldn't be here because we'd only seen pictures of Medeski with a bald head and clean shaven. Turns out that was his tour afro and his beard. So we made total asses out of ourselves right in front of John Medeski by not recognizing him like a bunch of fucking morons. And so like this was 23 years ago, and I'm still embarrassed about it. The weirdest part was I was fawning, just fawning all over Chris Wood. I'm pretty good about not fanboying, but I was ridiculous with him. I was like, I love Charles Mingus and I love you. And I gave him a lecture about his own song. I was like, Last Chance to Dance Trance, man, is such a masterpiece. And sure enough, they went in there on like the third or fourth song and played like a 20-something minute version of Last Chance to Dance Trance that was all over the place. And I swear to God, man, 2.5 hours later at the end of that concert, Whiteley and I were just jaws on the floor, sweating. And what I really loved about it was at the end of the concert, we were just standing there with our mouths open, not moving, not making any effort to leave. I'm assuming you can hear the sirens in the background. Welcome to downtown Indianapolis.
No,
So
but
that was
those kind of shows, and especially, I mean, and because Medeski and Martin Wood, they were a different kind of band because they weren't like a happy jam band that, you know, played songs where girls twirl on, you know, with hula hoops. These were guys that just went at it in jazz, and it was just deep and fast and very chaotic a lot of the times, I thought.
Dude, I even looked at the set list of that Medeski show because I thought it was so interesting. Like if you look at it, it says improv, improv, we're so happy, improv, the dropper, improv, big time. Like the term improv is listed so many times.
Yeah, it's like
And
that's like their favorite song, you know.
Yeah, improv is their favorite song. And I thought it was so incredibly funny that the guys from Fish talked them up, which gave them an audience of hippies, which allowed them to double dip in the audience and make a living off of touring. But by the same token, you know, sometimes you go to a hippie show and you meet these people who are on drugs and will only have fun if what they're listening to is danceable and light.
Yes.
Which isn't very interesting to me because a lot of people can play three chords over and over again. It takes a whole different kettle of fish to just kind of explore the ether.
Oh yeah, but I think it takes a different mindset as an audience member to know. Like, I mean, like, I don't want to say like to prepare yourself almost, but yeah, maybe there is like a disconnect in audiences sometimes, like how we were talking about with expectations. Like, if you go in thinking it's going to be this sort of a show and it turns out to be something else, is it going to, you know, are you going to be able to receive it the correct way?
Dude, it's so funny. My wife last year took me to see Franz Ferdinand. Talk about a band that I had never heard of in my life. And we went to the show and like she's so excited. She's super into this band, dancing around, having a good time. And I'm really into it. Like the music was super interesting. It was fun. It had a lot of energy. The songs were interestingly crafted. And there were these two people behind me that were just talking and talking and talking and talking really loudly. So I just leaned over and I was like, "Hey, are you two planning to talk really loudly through the entire concert?" And you could have sworn they looked at me like I was the most unconscionable asshole the world has ever known. And I was like, that was my nice way of approaching the subject matter. Like that was me watching my tone.
Well, no, and so I want to, like, now we're segueing into the issues at concerts with chompers, drunk asses. I wrote skip, scap, scallywags, and others that disrupt shows. I told you before, when I started going, or lately at shows, I've been having to like close my eyes because people will just annoy the piss out of me, and I can't help it. And I've noticed too, when I close my eyes, people won't try to talk to me as much
because you're a guy with his eyes closed.
Yeah. And it's like,
Yeah,
why would you try to startle me?
Too.
Don't try to startle me. I'm just sitting. I'm standing here enjoying my stuff. But, yeah, like, so, I guess, have you had other what are other issues that you've had, I guess, with chompers and that aspect of the crowd?
Well, I had a famous one. In 2011, I had tickets to see the Walkmen and Fleet Foxes at the Chicago Theater, and I went with a close friend, and we'd had several beers at Skylark over in Pilsen, if you're familiar with Chicago,
Mhm.
um, before the show. So we sit down in our great seats. The Walkmen play an awesome opening set, and Fleet Foxes go on with their awesome harmonies, and we're having a good time. And then these two people stand up in front of us, and they're like, "Yeah, yeah, woo, wah," and they start yelling really loudly, and they're like booty dancing on each other, and it doesn't vibe very well with this acoustic show where you're supposed to be listening to these intricate harmonies. And they were clearly trying to be, jerks. And so, a couple people tapped them on the shoulder, like, "Hey, sit down, shut up. We're trying to enjoy the show." And they're like, "Kiss my ass." And so someone goes out and gets an usher, and the usher's like, "Hey, if you could sit down and stop making noise and allow the other people here to enjoy this delicate acoustic concert, that would be great." And they're like, "Ah." And the 80-something-year-old security guard or volunteer usher at the State Theater in Chicago didn't want to deal with it, so he just walked away. So 5-10 minutes have gone by. These two people are still being really disruptive and making it impossible to hear the concert.
Mm-hmm.
So my friend Megan leans over and she's like, "Man, I wish someone would just give that frat guy a wet willy already."
Oh God,
So,
man,
so
she
I,
planted the seed on that.
so she suddenly realized what she's done. So she tries to grab my left arm, but unfortunately the guy's to my right. And so I've already spit on my finger and I'm jamming my finger into this guy's ear. And he turns around to me and I'm thinking, all right, if this is my last 30 seconds of life on this earth, because this guy's a lot bigger and stronger than me, if this is the end of my life, I'll know that my death wasn't in vain. I'll know that this guy
Yeah.
murdering me and everybody, it's going to cause an internet debate over talking at concerts and what an asshole it makes you, um, and whether you should kill people after they give you a wet willy, a highly deserved, earned wet willy. Um, so anyway, the guy, instead of punching me in the face, walked out to get the security guard. The
He
security
went at
guard comes in.
the
Yeah, he
security
went and
guard.
tattled. That didn't do anything to him. So
Yeah.
this usher, this geriatric usher, is exhausted, and he drags us all out of there, like me, my friend, this dude, his wife. They come out, and this guy's screaming. It's like, "This guy gave me a wet willy. I want him arrested." And this 80-year-old guy looks us dead in the face and says, "What the hell is a wet willy?" So, so we're standing there explaining to this dumbfounded, horrified old man what a wet willy is. So, my friend turns to me and it's like, "We should probably just leave because I don't think this guy's going to tackle us." So we just
Yeah.
left. But like it just, I'm willing to acknowledge, like, okay, this happened when I was 28. I'm turning 43 in like 2 months. I'm willing
That's
to
yeah.
acknowledge that I'm willing to acknowledge that maybe the wet willy wasn't the perfect solution to that problem, but like it was really fascinating to me that because like the only other option was to sit there and have the concert ruined
Yeah.
and
What?
just sit there and wait.
How many other people were allowing their concert to be ruined too? Um, like how many? Yeah. It is just irritating that people are that um unaware or just into themselves or into their own head that they don't recognize that they're ruining everyone's time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not stupid enough to not believe that there are people who go to concerts primarily as a social activity and the music is in the background. it's so hard for me to walk a mile in those shoes.
Yeah.
There are so many bars in the world where there's a jukebox or a radio playing, and then it doesn't matter as much if you want to talk amongst yourselves. But at a live concert, there's a reasonable understanding that number one, the songs you're hearing are never going to be played the exact same way again. And two, this is probably less understood, but what you're witnessing is sacred.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that as someone who grew up Catholic, and I remember seeing how some people would go to church and they'd be like totally enraptured by what they were witnessing. I wasn't one of those people. But I didn't, I don't remember like walking around and being like, "Hey, I think I'll disrupt these people. I
Yeah.
think I think I'll make loud noises and spit on them and just do whatever I can to make their lives challenging so that they can't enjoy their Sunday mass." Like
Yeah.
I never did that.
And I can't believe that, but
Oh, it's a demented story, and at the age of almost 43, it's almost impossible for me to realize that I was the person who did that. But
what are you
I
talking about
just
with the wet willy?
the wet willy, but also the way it kind of today still informs, like, how you said you close your eyes.
Yeah.
I think that's something I do now, because if I actually get to go to a concert, it's such a big deal. It's such a big deal to be able to go to a concert, to see live music, to see music that's being created in front of your face is such a wild privilege, is such a wild experience that you have to be present for it. And I say
Yes.
that as someone with pretty intense ADHD, but
No, and that's totally. Well, I actually want to play a clip from my interview with Jon Merin here. Then, because yeah, we talked about how many shows he's seen from Mo, and it was just a really interesting take. So here, hang on. Why would you see so many shows? I guess I always have to explain it to people. Like, do you have a set answer that you give people? Like, how many Mo shows have you seen in total?
I think around 300, maybe 250, 300.
Jesus.
That is
But
awesome.
but again, so what I did was up until 2008, and then that was like the peak of me. And then I guess from there I would seem sporadic, and once in a while, still sporadic. Not to this day, I don't really see him any. I have life. I'm super busy now, but I don't really see shows
No,
like
like
I
yeah,
used to
like
now. Life adds in career wise. So I just enjoyed the scene. I enjoyed going. I was young and was fun, and it's a good time during the time period.
oh yeah, totally. You kind of mentioned too, like how people get their music, and like with the rise of like Nugs and Spotify and everything. Um, I mean, we talked about or I showed you the article from the Grateful Dead. They're
Of course.
they're doing the Nugs thing too, and like, do you find it do you think it's a good thing, or like, do you think what the Grateful Dead are doing with Nugs is a good thing, getting music out there to everybody, I guess, if they want it?
With the Nugs platform, yeah, I think it's a good model, but you just, it's a good. I think it's good, but you got to pay a little bit. Unfortunately, that's the model of everything these days. Everything's subscription-based SaaS model. Everything is, no companies today, even just in general, whether it's music or technology, they're all selling subscriptions, and that's a way to get something out and to people that, when we were growing up, we had CDs and tapes and whatnot, and made group taping, I transfer things, and we were doing things back then where I think it was people were sending you blank discs and postage to get the music.
Yes,
And that
yes,
would be the only way of getting the music. And since then, because of big data, we're able to, you know,
dude. But
store.
I miss B&Ps. Like, looking in the mail for like a little bubbler
Yeah.
envelope. Oh, you get so excited. Um, yeah, I think like the novelty is. Like, I hate that, you know, the newer generations don't get that, I guess. And so yeah, that was part of it. So yeah, he started seeing Mo in like '97, he said. I think, and again, like, thank you to Jon Merin. That was fun talking to him. Yeah, he would just tape Mo shows. Like,
I think my brain exploded when I heard you say B and P, because it's been so long now since I last. It was so neat how back in the 90s there'd be these websites where you'd find out someone named 420 Beer Bong April would be like, oh, I've got this show, and I just recorded it on a pocket recorder of some kind. Like, the quality is terrible. Do you want to send me a bunch of blank CDs with an envelope inside of an envelope, so it's pre-postage? So
yeah. Oh my God.
I distinctly remember my parents thinking I was insane.
Yeah.
Like, I think they thought I'd lost my mind. They were like, okay, let me get this straight. There's a band called the String Cheese Incident.
Number one, let's talk about that. And then
that alone, I'll never forget that. Like 10/19/2000 down in Bloomington, they my high school, Bishop Chittard, had decided that band, marching band, concert band, jazz band, didn't matter, was considered an honors course, which means my GPA overnight just got higher for no reason. And because of that, my dad had to follow through on a deal where he got me concert tickets for me and two friends. And it turned out to be a goddamn string cheese show in Bloomington on a Thursday night. The show started at 9:30.
Oh,
yeah. I'm surprised my 50-something-year-old father didn't decapitate me as a response. But and he was standing next to a bunch of dudes dressed like hippies. It was a total burnout fest, and he was really struggling. Like, I think he still had his work clothes on. And the show didn't end till 12:30 either. So I just remember the guy sitting next to us in the balcony was taping the show, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll do a B&P for you, man. I'll do a B&P for you." So I just remember like being like, "Okay, Dad, I got to buy some blank CDs and two big envelopes, and then go to the post office and mail these CDs to this total stranger in Cleveland or wherever the hell he was from."
Right. And like that, it's like it was like my first experience really with like other types of postage too. So
yeah,
I was just like an idiot in the post office, like with these blank discs. Just like you said, you had to buy a return envelope for you. So once they burn it, they could send it. But I mean that sort of commute for music to me just makes me laugh. But it also brings me back to like Columbia House and BMG and the other CD companies that would tell you that you could get 10 CDs for a penny, and then all of a sudden you forgot to like refuse your monthly CD and you get charged like $50. That is all going to be lost to future generations, I think. And
I mean, I think we lost Columbia House a long time ago. Even my wife thinks it's odd. My car still has a CD player, and the Bluetooth does not work. And my wife's Bluetooth works fine. So, when she came across all of her CDs, she thought it was kind of funny. Wes was probably 3 at the time. And she was like, "Okay, 3-year-old Wesley, play with my CDs." And I walk in, I come running in the living room like, "Sarah, Wes is playing with your CDs." And she's like, "I don't care." And I was like, "Don't say that in front of your CDs." And Sarah's like, "Husband, they're inanimate objects. They don't have feelings." And I'm like hell they don't.
No.
but I thought that was so strange that when whatever the connector to my smartphone broke in the car, I was so happy that I had 7 giant binders left over from my 20s of CDs to
Yes.
listen to in my car. Even, I mean, my car looks like someone with real problems lives inside of it, because of those binders of CDs, and they're all over the place. And then my kids got super into it because it was like a treasure trove.
Yeah.
You know,
These are
it
new
was it
things,
was
and they have their own art like on the CD too sometimes, and so or they have like, what does 5877 mean? Like what does that show?
dude, my son was asking me these questions every day, and it made going to school really interesting because I mean, I guess it was a way of finding out your dad's a nutcase, but it was a way of finding out the story of your father's life too, because that was
Yeah.
such. I mean, CDs were the way to listen to music for a prolonged period of time in my life. I guess in terms of years, it wasn't very long because,
No, I mean tapes
well,
even before then. I mean, because when John was talking about like, you know, I remember waiting to record all of the music that I wanted to on the radio. Um, like the oldies station. I was obsessed with oldies as a kid on the radio. And
yeah, me
Dick
too, me too.
Dick Biondi on 104.3 in Chicago. Those were my jams. But yeah, you'd wait for your song to come on the radio, and you'd hate it if like the DJ talked over the intro or the outro. Uh, and then you just sit and listen to your little mixtapes. But like you have a kid, and the way that you post about your kid and music, I laugh so hard because I think the other day he said something to you about wanting to listen to Blind Melon No Rain, and you said that you would like play it for him, but you'd have to like tell the entire backstory of of it, and that is such a dad move.
Oh, it's a deep dad move because I'm like, and the weird thing is the story of Blind Melon is so heavy that I'm sitting there. It's like, okay, what parts of this do I censor for a 7-year-old, and what parts of this do I let fly? Because I kid you not, we went to the guy from Everything Now, John Rogers, the band. He owns a record store in Indianapolis called Take Care Records now. So we went there yesterday as part of Record Store Day, even though he didn't have any of the special releases, because it's a pretty cool store. And we're driving over there and we're listening to Blind Melon. He's like, Dad, I know I promised that we were only going to get one record, but if they have any Blind Melon, we got to get the record that has No Rain on it. And I'm like, well, son, actually, I'm pretty preferable to their second album, Soup. So I'd rather have Soup than the self-titled one. It's like, Dad, are you crazy? That one has No Rain on it. And so we're like arguing over what is the best Blind Melon album, and I'm like, this can't possibly be happening. I honestly, in that exact moment, I
Well,
couldn't tell if.
no, and that's the thing. Even like with No Rain, like him listening to that song has nothing on like us living through the Bumblebee video, and it turned into like a Pepsi commercial. It was
Yeah,
freaking everywhere. It wasn't just a song that we heard. It was it got ingrained into society, I feel like.
yeah, in a big way. And that's why it was weird because I hadn't sought out that song in years, but my kid wanted to hear it, and I was like, okay, just so you know, this is a super underrated band with a lot of great music.
No, and I think so many bands do get like they get that like a hit that hits a certain crowd a certain way. It's like how you were describing the Medeski crowd. It's like you have some people there that aren't there for like the hippie jam band thing. You have some that are there for that. It's different crowds, and the idea that a performer has to, I mean, I don't know what they don't owe the crowd really anything. They just owe them to like be authentic to themselves. But it's like if you don't like it, it's kind of on you almost. I think as a crowd member. That's at least what I tell myself every time I go into like fish message boards and I see just people bitching. I'm like, God, like, do you guys talk this much during concerts? Like, they'll talk during the live streams and stuff, and I'm like, how are you guys not listening to the music? Wouldn't that be a better use of your time, kind of a thing? So, so wait, so what else? How else would you say that your kids experienced new music? And do they have the same freedom that we used to have at that age to even have a radio and turn it on or find a?
I mean, they have a psychotic amount of freedom because they have YouTube and streaming and stuff like that, and Alexa. Wesley seems pretty into flipping through my record collection. Thank God. Jasper plays drums in a band called Lunch for Brunch.
Dude,
they're
that's
like
awesome.
they're like a 90s alternative rock band cover group. So they're all over the place. I'm super proud of that. And
I love that name too. Just
Lunch for Brunch is a great band name. Great band.
Yeah,
I'm genuinely jealous of that. Stomping Ground was a terrible band name in comparison to Lunch for Brunch.
That is good. That is good. No, but that's
Yeah,
it. I
so
think we always want our kids to, you're so proud of a kid for coming up with something like that too. It's parenting. It's all about just moving it on down the line.
Yeah, and about exploring things. I was glad about that. I took Wes to Luna Music yesterday. There were 3 bands playing there, and I was just like, just open your mind. If you don't like it, that's fine. You're not going to like everything you listen to. And there, I think the younger kids are maybe even exposed to more stuff than we were because of the streaming and because of playlists and having friends with different parents who make playlists and stuff like that. Like, it's all over the place. We just had the radio. We just had our parents. We just had our friends. I'm talking about when we were really young.
Yeah.
Like I discovered the Grateful Dead. Jesus Christ. I think I discovered the Grateful Dead through Q95 because they were playing Casey Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, it probably lasted until a radio DJ finally said that was Casey Jones by the Grateful Dead. And then I went to the library and I checked out the Working Man's Dead CD, and I was like, oh my God, this is the most amazing thing I've ever heard in my life. Why didn't anybody tell me how great this band was? And then my parents were like, well, we didn't really want you to be a Deadhead, so that's why. And it just kicked off a firecracker, man. But I think the music that your friends are into is a big part of it. That's how you end up at concerts later on in life. That's how you end up collecting albums.
That's how I ended up at the B96 B Bash. As my first concert was, I went with a bunch of friends, and that's another thing too. With like the different crowds and stuff. Like I was watching clips from Coachella, like just audience clips, and so much of me just wanted to crash it and just be like, what are you guys doing? Like, how is this? But then the hater side I'm like, why are you hating? Like, that's their jam. Like, if they want to go listen to the music like that's awesome. If it touches them in a certain way, like, great. Like, that's what music is supposed to do. And I know for a fact that you can't control the music you like. Like, there's no way. We all have our little guilty pleasure kind of earworm things that we're like, oh my God, I can't, Kelly Clarkson, I can't get that song out of my head. And it's like, you have physically, like, you have no control over it. You're just sitting there experiencing it. And all of a sudden you're like, yeah, man, since you've been gone. Yeah. Song's a jam. All right. But and so it's hard to to disregard a certain genre or a certain, scene because I'm too old, partly. And I think that probably has a lot to do with it. But no, like, what do you think of like the different? How can the radio keep up with the wealth of new artists now, or can it, or could it ever?
I think the best shot you're ever going to get is to just get a really big music fan with eclectic tastes, emphasis on eclectic tastes, and put that person in charge of a certain time, and then rinse and repeat all day long. And that's where I think that's radio's only shot at this juncture is to listen to a super diverse palette of music, which the audience has to make peace with. The fact that sometimes you're going to hear some terrible stuff
Yeah.
that you can't stand. But I think that's part of the run. There's bands that don't do it for me, and that's fine. There's bands that I once didn't like and like today. There's bands that I liked a lot back in the day and like less today. That's I think that's part of the musical journey that everybody takes. And then one day, let's say you're sick of a song
Mm-hmm.
and you've been sick of it for a long time. And then you go several years without hearing it. And then you hear it again. And all of a sudden it's beautiful again because you took a break. That's the power of music. And I think radio can lean into that if it
It
wants
totally,
to.
because the radio re-showed me Bonnie Tyler. Oh, It's a Heartache. Oh my God, I didn't know that song existed. And it was like, I'm listening to it and she's just pouring her heart out, and I'm like, it is a heartache. That's right. Like, that is some solid stuff. One last thing before we go. I our favorite venues and least favorite venues. I wanted to go back to John just to kind of talk about what his favorite or what his least favorite venue was. I want to ask you do you have a favorite venue or a least favorite venue? Just in general from recording.
That's tough. I know I have least favorite venue is probably Electric Factory in Philadelphia.
Okay. Now, is that sound or just because they're kind of asses?
Yes, just getting
Okay.
in. I don't remember. But that place, I think it's like Franklin Hall now in Philadelphia. And I don't think they.
Is it so? It's not the E Factory anymore, or is it?
No, they changed names. I think it's like Franklin Music Hall or something now.
All right. So yeah, he hates the E Factory in Philadelphia just because of the people, which made me laugh. But mine was the Aragon Ballroom as least favorite. The sound I hate the sound in that place. It never sounds right to me. It's got like a weird echo thing to it. I could never find the sweet spot.
I can't badmouth a venue, but I think the Aragon would be close. I went to the Wien St. Patrick's Day show in 2017. Yeah, and it was packed. And man, the Aragon just has a strange vibe. Oh, okay, don't get me wrong. Musically, this show is incredible. I mean, it's a great show, and I'm glad. Aragon, I'm grateful that you hosted that show. There was a weird moment there where I was like, man, getting it out of this venue, like physically, is hard. It's a really chaotic crowd, and there's not any aisles or anything like that. It's just a sea of people that you can't see over. So it's like it was. Yeah, the one time that I really needed water, I was like, boy, I wish I was somewhere other than the Aragon right now. So
Right.
I don't even know what direction I'm going in right now.
No, and then for favorite venues, let me see here. I visited Red Rocks this past summer. It wasn't actually like for a show though, so that doesn't count. My favorite indoor venue is this one. It's the Marat Egyptian Room in Indy. Uh, it's a bit of a homer kind of a one, but like they just always sound great. Every band that I've ever seen there. And then Deer Creek. Like I'm getting so excited for summer concerts, man.
Yeah, me too. Me
Especially
too.
just on the lawn. It's just everybody's there for the same reasons. It's nice, you know.
Yeah.
And then Alpine Valley. This was from a couple years ago at Fish. There was a nice little rainbow going on the left side there. And then Nashville was awesome. I couldn't figure out how to work the cotton candy machine inside. That was my favorite
Is that
indoor.
is that
That's
at the
at
Ryman?
no, that's at Nationwide Arena. So it's like
Oh, okay.
where the Predators play, and they have
Yeah,
this new.
I saw Billy Strings there.
Oh, you did? That place, I
Yeah.
love that place. It's so nice and spacious. And then I had my. I've been wearing overalls to concerts, so I can put my phone in my center pocket and just take pictures with it.
Nice.
I met Evil Knievel at the Nashville
Yeah.
show. And then, yeah, this was Madison Square Garden. That's probably indoor concerts are just way different than outdoor shows. And the Sphere is on a totally different level. I think the one on the right is from the Split Open and Melt. And the one on the left was from Evolve, I think, when they started bringing the hands over the top, which that place is just nuts. Yeah, I don't know about that as a I mean, I really want to go see it eventually, but
Yeah, me too.
Summer Fish is like discount Fish at this point. So, do you have anything that you want to add?
The Gorge is probably my biggest bucket list as far as venues I've never been to. Man, what I want to do is drive out there because I've never been to the Badlands and I've never been to Yellowstone or Glacier National or any of that stuff. So I would love to knock that all out in one big, long, obnoxiously long road trip. Harder to do at this juncture in life. But I'd like to do it. Saw King Giz at Red Rocks. Amazing.
Wait, you saw King Gizzard at Red Rocks?
Yeah, back in 2022.
That's what my poster. Well, a poster from the Oklahoma City show, but yeah. I've seen them a couple. I went out to Denver last year to go see them at Field of Vision, and they're just like they're my favorite right now, I would say.
Yeah, I think they're an incredible band. I love the way that they just put themselves out there. They're like, yeah, we made 14 albums in the last 2 years. Dig this.
Yeah.
Sarah and I saw them in Newport, Kentucky. The venue there had a really weird name. It was like Credit Card Default something. That wasn't the name of the venue, but it was something horrifying. But the show was incredible, and it was really neat because sometimes they'll be like, "We're a jam band," and this time around they were like, "Nope, we're a metal band that sometimes jams." Yeah, It got deep and dark, and it was super fun. And especially for a night where it was like 97 degrees outside, we had a good time.
No, and that's like, and they've been putting like techno. Last summer they did a tour with an orchestra, I think.
Yeah, and I was so bummed to miss that.
Well, that's. I mean, I hope. I heard they're doing a CD with Billy Strings, or
yeah.
But I saw Billy Strings with Fish in Grand Rapids, like Billy Strings.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah, those were. I did.
Nice.
I did the 10 shows from Alpine to St. Louis to Deer Creek to Grand Rapids, and both Grand Rapids show, the second set ended with Billy Strings coming out, and that was. I have never seen him or listened to him outside of guesting on Fish, but it was pretty sweet. So, yeah, I trust all those musicians to just keep making good music, and then I'll keep finding more. So
Yeah, I fully agree.
but yeah, man, Chris, thank you so much for coming on, man. This was a good time. Do you guys have any tour dates coming up that you want to talk about?
I think we're playing at Chilly Water Brewery in at the end of June, and then again in September. But yeah, we're just getting off of having recorded the new album. So the new album should be coming out soon, I think in mid-May. It's called Tell Me More. It's got a lot of great music on it, man. It's got Jesse Lee from Margot and the Nuclear So-and-Sos. Ethan Hody sat in with us. He's the trumpet player from Wampus Milk Daddies. We got to record it at Postal Recording Studio. I mean, it's just, I'm so proud of it. Me, Chris, Vinny, and Derek have had a hell of a journey, and we've made a lot of really, really great, and it's challenged us, you know. I mean, I'm not very pro challenging most of the time, but the journey, the challenge involved in making the music that we make has been really rewarding and exciting.
Oh man, I can't wait to see what you guys do. So,
Yeah,
man, you're welcome back anytime. I'll just play the outro part here. But yeah, so next Sunday we have a show. Dave Shelton, candidate for Indiana Secretary of State, gonna talk more politics on the next one. So yeah, Chris, this is what usually this is a politicky show about things that just make me mad. So thank you for again making this a lot happier. And yeah, man. All right, everybody. Yeah, take care. We're out.
my pleasure.